YouTubers, Max18363 here, and this is part 20 of my narrated F.E.A.R extraction point playthrough. So hopefully if you watched the last video to the very end, you'll have seen probably one of the better moments of F.E.A.R extraction point, the scary nurse scene, I suppose you could call it. Excuse me. If you didn't watch my last video to the end, then shame on you, and maybe go back and watch it, or I'll have to assassinate you. Yep. But no, certainly the end of that vid, yeah, that was definitely a standout moment for me in terms of the horror aspects of Extraction Point. Certainly gave me the chillies. Oh, there goes my phone. Keep forgetting to put this bloody thing in silent. Sounds like a cheery chappy. So yeah, really the atmosphere continues for a wee while in this video. I don't think there's really going to be a great deal of combat in this part, to be honest. I think the big firefight with all the minigunners and stuff will be the next one, and then we're sort of on to the closing levels after that. So this is just going to be mainly atmosphere, and there is a bit of combat against some of Alma's minions. Can't remember what they're called, shadows or something like that, I don't know. So yeah, it's kind of interesting because I don't know, 20th F.E.A.R extraction point video, I kind of feel I've said everything that there is to say about extraction point really without sort of repeating myself, so I don't know, kind of struggling to come up with things to talk about now. I think I had that problem towards the end of the original F.E.A.R as well. It just gets to a point where you just realise you're starting to repeat yourself. I must say, this little bit right here, which I'm guessing is like a main reception or something, what a ridiculous amount of blood. I mean, seriously. I don't mind a bit of blood and gore, but that's just going a bit over the score. Not that I'm queasy to blood or anything, but I just think it's just too much. I've always felt that so yeah, I got a bit of a tank in there, as you can see. They really come at you fast, those enemies, like, they really do. I think it'd be quite difficult to fight them if you didn't have any slow-mo whatsoever. It doesn't help the fact as well that every time they do successfully hit you, it kind of jars your screen sharply off to the left. It makes it kind of tricky. But no, but I've always felt, this is just maybe in my opinion, but I've always felt that, you know, developers that kind of slather some of their games in blood, or parts of their games in blood, kind of like this scene here. I mean, this is just a bit much. I kind of feel it can kind of have the effect of just desensitising the player a bit, because I don't know, I don't think blood in games really shocks us anymore. There was a time, I remember, like, when I started playing off like the Rainbow Six games and stuff, and if I recall correctly, I don't think there was any blood whatsoever in those games. Am I right in saying that? I'm not really sure, but no, I remember that Medal of Honor Allied Assault definitely had no blood in the game whatsoever, you know, for the PC. Classic game, absolutely loved it, but there was never any blood whatsoever, which is fine, didn't detract from the fact that it was a classic game. And then, you know, a wee while after that I moved on to the original Call of Duty, which was actually one of the good Call of Duties before it went all mainstream these days. And I remember that every time you hit an enemy there'd be a little spurt of blood that would go up into the air, and I'd be like, oh, blood. And now a few years down the line, with like games like Doom 3 and F.E.A.R, and well, I could go on and on, it doesn't really seem to be an issue anymore. It's just like, oh, there's blood. Even if it's slathered from the bloody head to toe, ceiling to floor, it just doesn't seem to shock us anymore. Even F.E.A.R 2 was quite gory at times, and that's fine, but I just think tone it down a bit, because I therefore, and this is just me, I therefore think it's a little more effective at maybe trying to convey a bit of a, I don't know, a bit of a chilling atmosphere or whatever. If it's just toned down a bit, if there's just blood all over the place, you become kind of numb to it, and I think it kind of loses its effect just a little bit. And I don't think you need tons of tons of gore even to shock players. For example, I remember in Resident Evil 4, the first time I took on one of the chainsaw enemies, and he ran up to me and sawed my head clean off. And yeah, there was some blood, but not excessive. But, you know, he sawed my head clean off, and I was absolutely gobsmacked. I mean, my jaw dropped to the floor. But yeah, obviously there was some blood spurting out and stuff, but it was done just right, and just generally the scene just absolutely smacked me in the face. You know, that's kind of what I'm talking about there. It's just, when you kind of do what games like this do on occasions, I have noticed this with Extraction Point, it is definitely gorier. It just doesn't have quite the same effect for me. Perhaps 5 years ago or something, if we'd come across a room like that covered in blood, it probably would have shocked us a bit more, but these days it's just like, and I just feel maybe developers need a new trick. Like the scary nurse scenes, you know, stuff like that is quite creepy, and this scene here that we're about to see is pretty faked up, and it's faked up without any excessive gore or blood. It's not to say I object to blood, let's be clear, a bit of blood is good, I don't object to it, but when developers go over the score with it, I think it's just a bit unnecessary, and it loses its effect, I think. Maybe not the most dynamic scene in the whole wide world, but the first time I went down that corridor I was really expecting something to happen. You just think, oh, something's going to jump out, something's going to happen, and then nothing really happens. You know what I mean? Good old melee hits there. So,